Monday. Most importantly, I found my water bottle.
That's big. The emotional support water bottle.
Huge, right? Actually, a lot has happened since Monday. You got me sick.
Well, I don't know if we can pass blame like that, but.
No, everyone in this shop has been sick for the past week. I don't know what's going on, but it has now been passed on to me. Thank you, Joe.
Yep.
Also, I do want you to show everybody your water bottle. We stay hydrated here.
It's like that. You know, you're sick. You got to come back. You got to make a change at some point, right?
We're working on it, okay? So, if any hydration companies out there want to keep us healthy, we would love a sponsorship. Just throwing that out there. But most importantly, we are 1 week and a couple days from LSU football. But there's some updates that aren't too good. Not the worst, but probably not the best news you want to hear. Maason Smith will not play in that opening game against FSU. Why? Well, because he's suspended by the NCAA for something that happened in 21. He and Kayshon Boutte did an autograph signing before NIL. So I guess at the time it was illegal. Now it's not, clearly. Boutte sat out a game in 22. And the reports are that Smith would have done the same, except he was injured. Obviously, he got injured in that FSU game, so he didn't get his suspension. Now, here's what's a little bit sus. Whenever Boutte sat out, he sat out 2 games, but one was because his child was born. He missed that game. The other one was because Brian Kelly said he had the flu. Was that his suspension, or did he have the flu? Was it both? We don't know. If you remember, a couple weeks ago, we reported that Maason Smith had a little bit of an ankle injury in camp, and they weren't sure of the severity of the injury, didn't have an update on what was going to happen. And now I'm beginning to wonder whether that was because they knew about the suspension earlier in the summer. This is not new news. It's new to us because we just found out about it, but this is not new news to the team, to Brian Kelly, to Maason Smith. They knew about this. So when they came out and said, hey, he hurt his ankle, we don't know what's going to happen here, were they almost setting up for him to be out that first game? And again, this is speculation. I just have to wonder because when he said Boutte had the flu, he was actually suspended. Were they setting him up to miss that first game, his suspension, and no one would know about it? Like, what do you think that was? Was it an actual ankle injury? Why didn't they tell anyone about the suspension earlier when they found out? Why is it just coming out a week before the season opener?
I think that's just a tactical advantage that Brian Kelly was taking, was we're going to appear as if everybody's going to play on game one, not give Mike Norvell and Florida State any sort of heads up as to who won't be available. I think their game, not having Maason Smith on the defensive line for LSU, completely changes Florida State's game plan and their approach to the offense. So letting them know that 3 months in advance would potentially be beneficial for Florida State, and you don't want to help them.
I'm sold on that one. That makes sense to me.
But I will say, there's nothing we can do about the suspension at this point.
Correct.
But can we talk about how moronic it is?
I know. I don't agree with it at all. Considering NIL went live not too long after.
And I get it. There was a rule broken. There should be consequences. I understand. But
a fine?
That's what I'm thinking, right? Why not go fine? Why not take that route? Especially when you have a defending back-to-back playoff head coach with Jim Harbaugh over at Michigan, who is negotiating a 4-game suspension with the NCAA. Like, that was self-imposed. Yep. And then he went back on that and was like, maybe we'll do 3 games instead. And now that's okay. So now we're just making our own punishments, but Maason Smith has to sit out for something that is not even illegal anymore. Like, it's so obnoxious, man.
Tell me how you really feel, Joe.
I'm pissed.
Sheesh. He covers college football, so like all of college football, not just LSU. Check out the 10-second runoff if you want to know more about everything going on everywhere else. But yes, great insight. I agree with you. It's kind of, there's gray area, and it seems there needs to be a uniform system. You can't let somebody do what Jim Harbaugh is doing and then turn around and we're having Maason Smith sit out a game where he probably could be fined, and that would be the end of it.
Yeah.
That's what I think should happen. However, I am not in charge, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
On the brighter side, number 18 and number 7 will be given out this week. I told Joe before the show, how is it that we find out the number 8 for baseball in August before the season starts, and we are just days away from the season opener, and we have no clue who's going to wear 18 or 7? Brian Kelly said we'll find out at the end of this week. It's Thursday, so maybe by tomorrow's show we'll have an update on who's going to be wearing those numbers. I like the tradition. Joe hates it. You want to explain why you don't like it?
I think it just puts undue pressure on the guys. That's how I feel. I mean, you think of 7. Who's the first name you think of?
I think of Tyrann Mathieu.
Okay, me too. But you can go back to Allie Highsmith.
Yeah.
You can go Allie Highsmith, Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, Mo Claiborne. You can go down the list, right? And to ask anybody on the defensive backfield, and not that they're not up for the challenge, but to ask them, hey, we need that level of play out of you, as opposed to just the honor of wearing 7 and continuing that legacy. Like, yeah, it's a cool thing, but I think it just puts undue pressure. And we've seen that with a couple guys in the past. So it's just like some people end up crumbling under that as opposed to just playing under their own number or creating their own legacy.
But I
think
yes.
18 is really cool. Like I love
Yeah.
18 and I love 8 for baseball, but when it comes to 7 and asking somebody to be like the most dynamic player on the defense is who wears that, like it's just that's a little wild to me.
Joe is coming in with all kinds of takes today, y'all.
Do you disagree?
No, I don't necessarily disagree. I don't think I've ever thought of it that way. Of course, we see it as an honor. 18,
Yeah,
8,
of course.
7, like it's something you're proud to wear, you're proud to be given. But I don't think I ever saw it that way as the pressure, specifically with 7, wearing 7, that these guys face. It is something to kind of just be aware of, that like, oh, they're getting handed this number, and not only is that an honor, but it comes with a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure that some guys aren't able to handle.
Whenever I say I don't like the tradition, I'm specifically talking about 7.
Yeah.
18 is great. Like I think that's cool because it's giving
Okay.
somebody, like it's a leader. Like you're acknowledging
Right.
somebody as a leader on the team, which is cool. It's the same as having captains, but 7's just different to me.
Fair enough. Look, you're not wrong.
Do you have any predictions on who do you think will be wearing those numbers?
Honest to God, no.
Okay.
I don't know where this is going to go.
Okay.
I don't know. Do they always wait this long to give the numbers?
I don't know. I don't.
Has it always been this last minute?
It doesn't feel like
I don't
it's been
think so
this
either.
late.
I feel like I've seen announcements like a couple weeks at least before
Yeah.
the season opener. So I don't know if they're just waiting to make it more dramatic or if they might be trying to figure it out still, which is kind of scary, but hopefully by tomorrow we have updates.
Yeah.
Switching over to women's basketball, their non-conference schedule released yesterday. I saw the hype video. A lot of people were excited about it. The full SEC schedule will come out later, but I did want to just give you a little rundown of what that non-conference schedule does look like, because they are playing 6 teams that made it to the postseason. So it's a pretty good non-conference schedule. They've got East Texas, Baptist, Loyola, Colorado, which is going to be a good matchup, Queens, Mississippi Valley State, Kent State, Southeastern. So, of course, that's always a good one. I know people get excited about the Lions and the Tigers going at it in Louisiana. Texas Southern, Niagara in the Cayman Islands, Virginia in the Cayman Islands, Virginia Tech, UL, McNeese, Northwestern State, Coppin State, and Jacksonville. And that full SEC schedule will come out later, but that's what we got right now. And towards the end, I'm going to talk about, of course, Angel Reese again, because she just stays in the headlines doing incredible things. But we'll circle back to that because there's some pros or former LSU Tigers that are doing some wonderful things. And shout out to the girls for getting it done, because all of the pros I'm talking about are female athletes making waves and an impact worldwide. So Sha'Carri Richardson this past week won the world championship in Budapest, Hungary. She ran the 100 meter in 10.65 seconds, making her the fastest woman in the world. She beat out 5-time world champion Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price and former Olympic gold medalist Shericka Jackson. So that is a huge notch in her belt. And if you remember, just about 2 years ago, she went through the whole ordeal with being left off the U.S. Olympic team because of the marijuana usage, and there were the doping policy, and there was a lot of drama around that. And she, I think, was banned for a month, and that was a huge deal that caused a lot of uproar and questions about the policies and stuff. So to see her come around 2 years later, become the fastest woman in the world, and she had some great things to say. I know after she won, she was over the moon. Obviously, who wouldn't be? But she talked a lot about not worrying about outside noise, and she's not here to please other people, and she doesn't care what the world thinks of her, but she's doing it for the people that look like her, that feel like her, all that kind of thing. So super awesome to see her achieve that this past week. And Taryn Cloth and Kristen Nuss could be on their way to hopefully a world championship medal. Two professional beach volleyball players who have won the AVP 4 times, along with a whole bunch of other accolades. They just won AVP Atlanta. They're heading to Chicago next week. Be on the lookout because we will have some Valley Vision coverage from Chicago. Why? Because Kristen and Taryn just launched a podcast with us called Small Talks and Tall Tales, where they tell the stories and share the memories that they've had on their journey as professional volleyball players, which is super cool. So they've got their own show, but we're going to kind of take Valley Vision up to Chicago to get some coverage of those former Tigers, of our girls, and give y'all some content, because this is an LSU sports show. It's not just an LSU football show. And we talk about the athletes that have already been here, that are making their mark past their 4 years or 5 years, whatever COVID did, their years in college.
Yeah.
So we'll have some coverage for y'all coming from Chicago, which is going to be super cool. I'm super excited. And Taryn and Kristen are well on their way to the 2024 Summer Olympics.
No doubt.
No doubt. I mean, Kristen is arguably the best defender in the world. Taryn, the way that their chemistry on the court, off the court, if you watch their show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I have no doubt that we see them in the Olympics.
Yeah, if you don't know their names now, you need to go ahead and stick around, check them out, because in a year and a half, you are absolutely going to be watching them at the Olympics and pulling for them to bring home gold for the United States. Like, the fact that is coming out of LSU is so crazy.
Save this. We're calling it now. You're going to want to watch them on their journey. So yes, Sha'Carri Richardson, Taryn Cloth, and Kristen Nuss, some pro female athletes who passed through the doors at LSU and are still making waves in the athletic world. Love to see it. And we will round out with another female who is still here, who is making a name for herself, who is giving back. Angel Reese. Why am I talking about her again? Well, because she was in Teen Vogue. And last time we talked about Angel Reese, I talked about how she wanted a modeling career and how she wanted to be a professional basketball player that could do both, that could be cute off the court, still do her thing on the court. Days later, I keep hitting this basketball. Days later, she's in Vogue. And I think her caption, it was the Drake lyric. Yeah. I'll clip it at the bottom. Don't tell me you're a model if you ain't been in Vogue, or whatever Drake said. She runs the game. Like, she kills it. I love it. The pictures were great. And that just goes to show, I think, don't talk about it, be about it. Like, she fully said, hey, I want to do this. And then here she is doing the damn thing. So props to her. I know she started the Angel C. Reese Foundation, which is her foundation to empower girls and women through sports, education, financial literacy. And I think she's doing a lot to work towards that, to be an example for those girls who she wants to set the example for, be a role model for. So there's your Tiger T, Angel Reese, in Vogue. Man, different. She's just different. We've got so many of those personalities on campus that I think reach so far beyond their sport. And she's definitely one of them. Yeah. That's about all we have for today. We will be back tomorrow, hopefully with number 18 and number 7 updates, but I can't promise that because, again, I'm not in charge. But we appreciate y'all for watching. We will see y'all soon.